Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is for my 50 Mistakes website, 50 Mistakes that restaurant owners make. So you can go to 50mistakes.com and get lots of free information. Lots of free information that will transform your business, your restaurant or non-restaurant business. They're just loaded with a bunch of good things. So I was just told a story today, a matter of fact, the day that I'm recording this video. And it was pretty funny. And last week I recorded a video on how businesses, how other restaurateurs can be cutthroat to each other, right? Really just cutthroat. So I had an employee here, who was a good employee, and she wants a part-time job. She wants extra hours. So she went to a restaurant in our area, no names mentioned. I'm gonna teach you, this is kind of comical, but I'm gonna teach you what not to do when you interview staff, okay? Staff is always, people are getting interviewed, always the ones that are supposed to be, oh, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. But as an interviewee, as an interviewer, there's things that you should not be doing if you're conducting the interview. And here's a great example. She goes, Marcus, I went to go meet this chef who owns this place for an interview. She goes, he was drinking alcohol during the interview. Okay? So the chef owner is drinking alcohol. She goes, it was crazy. She goes, and then he was very, very strict with me and said, if you work down the road at the other place, I will not hire you. You have to quit down there. And she was like, all I'm looking for is a few extra hours. And I don't hire people that work simultaneously both places. It was like very firm, okay? Which some places are like that, okay? Yeah, I can see that. Maybe if it's said in the right way, that might be acceptable for a lot of restaurateurs. Hey, don't work at my competition down the street, this and that. I can see that. Next. But the funny thing is, this person hires all my band, people that want to play at my restaurant. He'll go after them all. So he doesn't want my staff working there, but he'll go after the people that work for me. It's needless to say. But she goes, here's the part that really turned me off, Marcus. All he did was badmouth you and your wife, and badmouth and elevate himself up to the point where he thought that he was the king of your restaurant. See, he used to work at my restaurant. So when he worked at your restaurant, he said that he brought you in so much money in your restaurant, that he was responsible for all the sales growths in your restaurant. He was responsible, okay? So she was like, that was a really turn off. She goes, but then I worked for a couple of hours. I trailed, I watched. She goes, he proceeded to drink the rest of the night and get smashed. She goes, there's no way that I would go to work for somebody who's like that. And I said, I've never heard of anybody drinking alcohol, the person who's conducting an interview during an interview. I would never do it. Don't get me wrong, I love to have a drink. There's a proper place and a time for a glass of wine, a good beer, proper place and time. But what would you do if you were an employee showing up and the person conducting the interview was drinking, bad-mouthing the place you were working at, and then continues to get smashed drinking for the rest of the night? She goes, it was comical, hysterical, and disgusting. She came in today on her day off to tell me that. She goes, I have to tell you this experience I had yesterday. She goes, it was really bad, really, really bad. And she looked at me, she goes, there's no way that I would leave you guys, because you guys take care of me. There's no way I'd leave you to go down, to go work for this person. I'm just looking for a few extra hours. She goes, that's all I wanted was a few extra hours. So, if you own a restaurant, the last thing you want is for people that you're interviewing to go spreading stuff like this around town, to other employers, to competition, to guests. That's the last thing you want, is them telling guests of yours. It's all your reputation, okay? It's the last thing that you want. So that's my business tip for today. Be careful how you conduct an interview. Be careful of what you do, what you say. There's a lot of legalities in an interview. You can't just come out and say, are you married? Where do you live? Do you have kids? There's a lot of things that you cannot say that you have to be very vague on and lead people to the proper questions, or lead them to it where they say, oh, well, my wife or my kids or this and that, because it's all discrimination. It's a lot of discrimination in there. So be very, very careful. I suggest that you go to somebody who knows the laws. My accountant is very, very good at that. She knows a lot of the laws about that. Where you're asking the proper questions, and you probably get a list of questions you should not be asking. Super important. Get a list of somebody who's qualified of questions you should not be asking during an interview. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching that. Check out 50mistakes.com. There's a ton of free advice there to help you and your business grow. Please leave a comment and share this video.